Welcome back to the 2020 garden tour at Alderman Farms with the Homesteaders of America. Today is July 28th and this garden has been in the ground since March, and as you can see behind me, everything is mostly dead. So now it's time to get planting for our fall crop. If you've watched our last video, you can see that we have gotten the weed eater working. Tommy has weeded the garden with the weed eater. I have to come through and remove the last of the tomatoes. This is our green bean row, and as you can see, it is putting on some more blooms, but I plan on going ahead and taking this out and planting some more green beans that will be a little healthier. This is our cucumber row, and they have done wonderful, but it is definitely time to remove them. Also, I will be planting some more cucumbers, not as many, but a few more. This is our last two tomato rows. You can see that there's more tomatoes out here. I've just let them go because I have been harvesting a few tomatoes, but after today there will hardly be any green ones left. Not too many bug damaged tomatoes, but there are some. You notice I have been pulling off the little stems that are left on there, because whenever you put them in your bucket, it will damage the other tomatoes. That's my harvest, 4 rows. This tomato plant by far has been my best tomato plant. If you notice, this was the tomato plant that I just picked, 5 or 6 tomatoes off of, maybe more, and it's grown way up tall also. But so what I'm going to do for my fall tomatoes, if you'll look here, this is part of that vine, you'll see this little sucker right there that's growing in between. You just pinch that off, and this is going to be my new tomato plant. And what you do is you put this in some soil and you keep it very well watered, and it will grow roots and you can actually plant it. I have plenty more of these. Here's another one here. And so this is going to be my fall tomato plants. Alright, now this is a pot with some soil in it, and I have wet it really good, and it's nice loose soil. And what I'll do is I'll take my finger and I'll just make a little hole down in the pot and shove one of these way down and cover it up. It's better to have smaller ones, but more like this size would be best. But I can't resist to plant this one. I'll plant it in the middle. And I make a deep hole, like as long as my finger, just about, and put it down in there and push the soil back against it. I'm putting quite a few in this bucket. I'm just doing this to get the roots established, and then I'll change them out into individual pots, or I may just plant them, since it's so warm, I may just plant them straight into the ground. But this will be enough tomatoes for us to eat during the have tomatoes to eat during the fall. And that's all I really care about. I'm not selling any tomatoes. See, this is a really nice size. You could actually put this in a seed, in like a little 6-pack seed tray like this, and keep it watered real good. Since I have all these, I'm just doing it a quick way, a quick planting of them. And in a week or two, probably 2, I'll be able to plant these in something different or straight in the ground. Also, you have to keep these very, very moist. And all of these may not make it, but even if I get half of them, I'll still end up with about 4 or 5 tomato plants, and that's plenty. One thing that I'm looking for as I was picking my tomatoes is I'm looking for a plant that has like a sucker that is growing down low. And here is one right here that's growing down low. I do plan on keeping a vine or 2 that's long, that is doing really good, just to see, for an experiment. But for this, I'm going to come in and actually cut off the existing tomato plant, leaving the sucker, because it already has a very good root system. And so I'll have a tomato plant growing right there that will be fixing to set flowers and grow tomatoes. Alright, the way these work is there's a little hinge in here, right here, where your string goes. And then you put it around your tomato plant right below a limb, like that, and it holds it straight up. As the tomato plant grows, you'll add more. About every foot, 2 foot, it just depends. But you see, here's my original tomato plant here. This is actually a sucker coming off the side. So I'm going to let this grow. This will be a nice tomato plant that will make lots more tomatoes, hopefully. I think I actually see some blooms. I do. Right here. All right, here is one row of okra. It's been doing well. It's been enough okra for me and Tommy to eat. Really not enough for anything else. I haven't even gotten to freeze any, but maybe I will eventually. Back here in the back is our boxes, and they've done well. I've lost one of my little pepper plants. It's called a sweet pickle pepper. I don't know why I lost it. If you can see the red peppers, it's like it died from the root. But the rest of it's done well. I've collected quite a few bell pepper, probably about 10. I have 3 plants. It's still making more. I've harvested some banana pepper, but you know, I see a bloom at the top of one of the banana peppers. It quit blooming for whatever reason. There's a bloom right up here in the top. If I can get my finger up there. So maybe it was too hot, and you can see back behind that is my melons, which have completely died. We weren't very pleased with the taste of them. We did harvest a few, and I wasn't very pleased with the taste. Our other box back here that we have planted was our lettuce and dill box, and the lettuce is just falling over like crazy. It has bloomed and it's setting seeds, and you can see the dill a little further back. Like I said before, I'm not pleased with the dill in the high tunnel. Probably won't do that again in the spring. And I still haven't collected my seeds, and I have to get that done. Well, you know the old saying, if you don't succeed, try again. This is pitiful. We have harvested some stuff out of here, but not a lot, and the weeds have taken over. This in the foreground back here is my rattlesnake green beans. I did harvest a few of those. Not my favorite, but they were good. I just planted that little bit of seeds that I had just to see. That's our apple tree. I don't know if we've mentioned that right here. That's our apple tree, and it's doing well. In here was our watermelon that didn't do much of anything. And it's just, you know, full of weeds. This is what's left of our garlic plants. I still have not dug them. That needs to be done now. We've gotten some rain, so it'll be easier to dig. This is some okra that I planted out here. I am planning on weeding it because I believe it will. I've picked a few little pods, and I think it will make us some okra. The tomato plants that I had planted back here on this cattle panel did terrible. I did not take care of them. They were out in the heat. I planted them kind of late. Here's a squash, the squash row. It did put on a few more squash, and that's it. All this needs to be weeded down. I do have some blueberry bushes. Here's one right here that's in amongst all the grass. I did put some mulch around it, but didn't do very well. Didn't keep the grass away from it very good. So this needs to be totally weeded down and remulched and started over, but I'm probably not going to do anything with it for the fall. Well, you ever have things like this happen? I just filmed a little clip to go in here about my sage, and I cut it back, and there's what's left, but I forgot to have the mic on. This is about the biggest harvest I've ever had for sage. I dehydrate this, and I'll use it when I make sausage. This is way more sage than I'll ever use in a year, but it's been my experience that it lasts for years. And sausage is usually about the only thing I put it in. I don't put it in dressing. That's just not a typical thing down here in the South. But anyway, if you know of any good recipes for sage, let me know, because I would like to utilize this.